Hey MGTOWs, this is Vincent. Got a little break in the rain, so I thought I would get a little bit of a walk in. I'm still on vacation. I took an extension to my vacation, burned up the last of it because my shoulder was so screwed up from Cambodia. The first day I was there, and it was so lame. I went down this little spiral staircase and then it landed on a little platform, and then basically the floor looked exactly like the rest of the patio, and I was under heavy jet lag and I fell off the thing, landed on my face and sprained the shit out of my shoulder. Starting to heal up very nicely though. The doctor says it takes about 6 weeks for it to really get mostly healed. And that's about where I'm probably on about week 4 or 5 right now. Just got back from the tanning salon. I highly recommend that. I'm not really one for a fashionable tan, but it seems to be a pretty good substitute for sunlight. And the result, I think, is that I haven't been sick once this winter. So that's really nice. Usually I get the flu or several nasty colds, and that crud that builds up in your lungs for like 2 weeks after you get sick. Not a big fan of that. So, just thought I'd do a few laps here. Let's see, what did I want to cover? I've got about a week and a half left of my vacation. That's always good. Yeah, I was just thinking about that jury duty that I had about a year ago. The one that gave me such psychological trauma. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you go check it out. The thing is, I was shocked. It was all women except for one school teacher guy who was like a what's that syndrome where you're captured? Basically, they started identifying with their captors, and this guy was like a total feminist. It was pathetic. So the only guys that were there were like me, one other mechanic, and some old retired guy. And the old retired guy turned out to be an alternate. So it was just me and the other mechanic, really. It was pretty pathetic. And every single woman on that jury wanted to fry the guy when it was clearly self-defense from the woman's domestic violence. And of course the woman was not charged. She came after the guy with a wine bottle and chased him out into the parking lot. And then she had the nerve to complain and call the police when he defended himself from her attack after he had fled her apartment. Man, it was pathetic. And every single woman on that jury, guilty! They just wanted to fry his ass. And it's an interesting thing because I was astounded by how callous they were, how completely unable they were to understand anything or understand anything from the guy's point of view at all. It was like absolutely the total sisterhood. Woman, innocent and wonderful, man, penis, guilty, right? It was just absolutely sick. And I was astounded, even though I'm a red pill guy, I was astounded at the depth and the sheer automatic callousness that they had for anybody like you or me. It was really, really weird. Another thing I wanted to sort of, well, anyway, I suggest you watch that video if you haven't seen it. And another thing that was really interesting, periodically as we're in MGTOW videos and whatnot, we run into women who are totally feminist indoctrinated, and they've never encountered anything else. And they basically are absolutely astounded and totally surprised by the way we see the world, by any non-feminist, non-totally feminist, leftist, Marxist outlook. And it's my opinion that since speech has been silenced in professional settings as well as in school, academia, if you want to call it that, they have never encountered any other way of thinking, and so they are absolutely astounded and totally enraged because they have never heard this shit before. And it takes a while to get them to see or admit to any of this stuff, but it's kind of amusing, and I guess I have too much time on my hands because I like to from time to time I like to have little discussions with them, and and then of course they talk about, oh, you're gonna be lonely when you're old. And oh, your life must be terrible, you must be living in your mom's basement. And that's something you can put numbers to, right? So I immediately drag out my net worth and my income and versus my very low expenses as a MGTOW, and and it doesn't shut them down, but it certainly gives them food for thought. That without the drag factor of supporting a woman, her kids, or her divorce lawyer, I've done pretty well for myself. I live comfortably on about 30% of my take-home pay. I could retire if I wanted to move overseas, and I might still do that. But for the time being, I'm going to keep working, and then keep socking away some bitcoins while they're still relatively cheap. And then once they shoot up past like 24 grand or so, I'll probably bow out and either go rural around here in Washington State, because I like it, we don't have an income tax here, or possibly retire overseas. I haven't really decided yet. So, good times. Let's see, what else was the last thing I wanted to discuss? Yes. I'm subscribed to quite a few people on Patreon, MGTOWs, of course, and so when it's kind of handy when they get their channels shut down due to all the censorship and totalitarian oppression of YouTube, I still have a place to find their content, right? Some of them are posting on Vimeo, and I could just click on their Patreon and still find their content. And it's rather sad though, because their subscriber base is just totally imploded. It's like a lot of MGTOWs and MGTOW viewership are not really dedicated. They're just sort of fair weather MGTOWs, you know. So they don't actually follow these people wherever they go. So what I'm thinking is I have a Steemit account, and I'm going to start being much more faithful to that account by every time I post anything anywhere, I'll leave links to it in my Steemit account. So I'll be sure to put a link to my Steemit account here, or my Steemit page, in the more info area, and that way if I get obliterated, well, then I can you guys could at least find my new channel or my content wherever I end up going. So I don't intend to censor myself or anything, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to not, to forego the monetization of my channel. I don't need the money, so why should I deal with the extra complications? Reporting all the income to the IRS, not much of it anyway, but I don't feel like doing the paperwork. So be sure to follow me on Steemit. I'll be much more faithful in updating that page. And I think everyone with a MGTOW channel needs to put a link to their content, or at least establish a presence there. And that way they can, people can find them. And I think that is highly important. Okay, well guys, I'm gonna let you go. Later. Oh, and don't get married.